What's going on, guys? Josh here from Moment Productions, and today I want to talk about a topic that I'm constantly getting asked on Instagram and Facebook and even through email, and that is, when should you upgrade your camera? Well, this is a pretty easy question to answer, and all it just takes is a little bit of thinking. Now, I know there's a lot of trending channels saying that, oh, you need to upgrade your camera to this, you need to upgrade your camera to that. But the reality is that usually these upgrades are very, very minor. Usually I like to skip a generation of a camera. So for example, I still have my Sony A7S Mark I. I'm not gonna get the Mark II, I'm gonna wait until the Mark III comes out. But there is a reason behind this, guys. And this all has to do with you being an investor. That's right. So if you're a professional in the videography or photography community, then you know that you need to make your dollars work for you. Your hard-earned money needs to make you more money. And you're not gonna be making any money if you constantly spend it on new equipment. You have to make logical decisions that are actually gonna help you make even more money. Now, what is this decision-making process? Well, as for me, I look at myself as an investor in my business, as I mentioned earlier. So think of it this way. Now, are you a hobbyist or are you a professional? Are you making a full-time salary off of your video work or photography work, or are you just making a little bit off to the side? So once you decide that, then we can actually make a logical decision on whether or not you should upgrade your camera. Now, another thing you need to look at is demand. What kind of footage are your customers wanting? Do they require 4K footage? Do they require 1080p footage? Now, a lot of my clients want only 1080p footage, which is why I still use my A7S, actually as a B camera, but my A9 takes care of my main footage and it works well as a photography camera. But I don't want to upgrade to the Sony A9 II. And the reason is that my A9 does its job perfectly fine. The A9 II has minor upgrades simply that just don't appeal to me. Now, the only reason why I kept my A7S Mark I and didn't go up to the II is because I didn't really need 4K. And if I really wanted 4K, I could actually just get a recorder and hook it up to my camera. You really have to look at the most cost-efficient way. Since you are running your own business, you have to make your dollars work for you. So again, look at all of your equipment as a major investment to make you more money. Don't just simply buy new camera equipment simply because a YouTube channel is telling you to do so. I know that I like to review a lot of cool camera equipment, but you have to make logical decisions, guys. Is it really worth buying? Is it going to make you money? Now, just because your camera is 5 years old or 6 years old doesn't mean that it's an old camera. If it still produces great image quality, then it's still a good camera. I actually regret selling my Canon 5D Mark II. Yes, it's a really old camera, but it still produces outstanding images. I would still use it for video work today, but me being uneducated at the time about spending money and all that stuff, I sold it and bought some other camera instead. Now, I have had my share of bad investments. For example, I paid for my Canon XF305 video camera. It was a massive camera, the lens was great, but I really wasn't that educated on camera equipment back then, so I just really went off of size, believe it or not. So I thought it looked cool, it looked like a TV production camera, but honestly, it wasn't meant for the type of work that I was doing. So I actually lost a couple grand with that camera because I couldn't use it for the work that I was doing. Now that I have more years in my experience filmmaking and making videos, I can make better educated decisions on what type of camera equipment I need to make these types of videos for my clients. When it comes to buying a new camera, there are usually 3 major things that I look for. 1, image quality. 2, functionality. And 3, will this camera make me money? This is the most important part. You can't just buy a camera simply because it looks cool. I fell into that same trap. You have to understand that this camera, these thousands of dollars that you're spending are an investment. You have to use it towards your profitability for your business. Otherwise, you're just gonna go bankrupt. Nobody wants to go bankrupt. So how do you determine whether or not a camera is good for your business? Well, look at what your clients are telling you. What do they want? Again, this is one big vicious loop. You have to go back and see the type of work that you've been producing for your clients. If they've been happy with the resolution, happy with the image quality, then you honestly don't really need to upgrade your camera. Keep it the same. Unless you want something better for yourself, you want to produce better image quality, or there's just some functions in a camera that you really want to up your YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook game, then sure, get it. But in the long run, if that camera is not gonna make a huge difference when it comes down to your profit for your business, then it is not a worthy investment. So back to what I said a little bit earlier, a good little formula is to skip a generation of cameras. Now, even that little formula is not always true, because skipping a generation might still not be a big enough upgrade. Just look at what Canon's been doing with their cameras. But you have to really just think about it logically. Look at the camera specs. What can it do for you? Can it make you that much more money? Now let's talk a little bit about the Sony A7S III and why I most likely will be buying it. Now, because of the rumors that's been coming out, some of them have actually been very accurate for other cameras as well that have previously been released. So I'm pretty sure that some of these functions that I've seen on the internet's rumors are pretty true for the Sony A7S, and that is going to be 6K recording at 30 and 24 frames per second and 240 frames per second at 1080p. We're gonna get 4K 60. We're gonna get better autofocus, a higher megapixel count, probably up to 24 megapixels. I mean, these are all worthy upgrades when I'm comparing it to my Sony A7S Mark I, which I actually got 5 years back. So these are actually really good functions for me, especially since I'm coming from the Sony A7S Mark I, which doesn't have any of these functions. So for the Sony A7S III, I will definitely be upgrading it simply because I do want all of those functions, and it would be great to have a B cam that can also shoot in 4K. Now recently I've been doing a lot of fitness videos and a lot of promo videos, and those clients actually started demanding 4K footage. So now I'm only gonna be looking at 4K cameras. So that soon to be A7S III that's coming out, I think that's gonna be a worthy upgrade for me, and I'm expecting to make some cha-ching out of it. All right, so if you guys have any questions for me, let me know in the comment section below. If you're really stuck on whether or not a certain camera is a good purchasing decision for you, let me know. Also, feel free to DM me on Instagram at momentum_productions, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.